Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Friday, May 16th edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming here from the WellPoint Studios here in beautiful downtown Lowell. We're wrapping up the week here of the Daily Pulse, and we're kicking off the weekend, and we're doing all of it in style because we have put together today the show that everybody has been clamoring for.
Hey, we break the internet.
The Killer Bees, Bodor and Buckley, are in the house. Leslie Bodor to the left, Jo Marie Buckley to the right.
Hey, Daddy.
Who knows where they are, really? But
I fought for this show.
Right, I'm kind of dead center usually.
Yeah, of course.
we're excited to have the two of you here. This is, Jerry was trying to make it happen on the radio.
Yeah.
He almost made it happen.
Almost.
And then I don't know, she got sick. You hurt her knee.
Yeah,
You
got sick. I think it was illness. It was illness.
Yeah.
We were gonna do a Karen Reed thing on WCAP, and there was illness.
Oh, it was
involved.
I probably hung
missed
out
it.
at your place the night before and got hungover.
Probably.
Teddy's fault.
Yeah, she's hitting on my father. Coffee.
So many questions today. There's gonna be so many questions.
So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I know you were the target of a podcast about a month or so ago from your, do I call him your arch nemesis?
No, that gives him too much credit.
You and Mark Craven are like Superman and Lex Luthor.
No,
and we just don't know who Superman is.
No, I would want to be Superman in that, and Lex Luthor's way cooler than that dude. So no, we'll come up with something better. It's not going to be today.
All right, we'll give you a chance to talk about Mark's last appearance here. We'll talk about Karen Reed, which is the reason we brought you together. Leslie's about to be a celebrity.
I heard.
Even bigger than she already is. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about why she hates Jason Tatum, and then we'll talk a little bit about numbers.
It's a frenemy thing. It's not a hate.
It's a frenemy.
I feel bad for him. He's hurt.
All right, why is he still in the hospital? Most people get kicked out. My wife's best friend had a baby the other day. She was out within 24 hours. Jason Tatum's in for 3 days for an Achilles.
I know. Why the long face, Kitty?
Who's covering up that that insurance cost? Anyway,
He's self-insured.
We'll get right to the Killer Bees, Bodor and Buckley in a quick second. Let me just thank my Daily Pulse sponsor. Speaking of Killer Bees, Booten, Ray Booten, Real Estate Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Massachusetts and New Hampshire, certified appraiser in both states as well. You can find him online at realestaterayBooten.com. I have to be serious here,
No.
Bodor. He's a sponsor.
You almost got her.
He's a killer bee.
I can't call him Putin. I have to call him Booten. He's a killer bee. Thank you, Real Estate Ray. Thank you as well to WellPoint. We're here in the WellPoint Studios. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. We got some other sponsors to thank in a few minutes, including Leslie's all-time favorite, Francis E. Preventure Insurance.
Whom I saw yesterday.
You saw Frank?
Yep.
Where'd you see him?
I saw him at Rodney Elliott's time. And he did not know me. And then he heard my voice.
And he knew you. I'm telling you, your laugh is like an institution in and of itself.
That wasn't funny at the
My
moment.
favorite thing.
So that's becoming a common theme, and I'm not talking about you mooching drinks off of people at
I have a story.
these public events, but people who everybody knows you and yet they don't recognize. They only know your voice. They don't recognize your face.
That's correct. And I had to tell him, Teddy Panos, and he's looking at me. Yeah. And I said he has a very interesting way of advertising for you. And I said, you're very nice to our station at Inside Lowell, and I wanted to thank you for all that because you're a great guy.
And he still didn't know who you were.
And he goes, I'm Leslie. Oh, and then he came right in. It was great. So it was fun to talk to him.
No one recognizes me nor you, Teddy.
Well, they recognize you in Tewksbury because you are the most watched, downloaded Daily Pulse that we've done. This is episode number 95, by the way, next Friday.
Oh, congratulations.
With the Pod Squad, we're celebrating our 100th episode.
Yay.
But you are the most watched, more than City Manager Golden, Eric Gitchier.
The Derby?
More than the Derby.
You beat the Derby.
More than Congresswoman Trahan, Auditor DeZoglio. You've beaten them all.
When the filter is off.
All because of your feud.
There's no feud. There's no feud. There's no feud.
We'll create.
Keep trying, Teddy.
We'll
I refuse to give him that either.
But first, Leslie, so you're going to be a celebrity. again this weekend, right?
There's so many reasons. This is when it needs to be a call-in show, because I would love to say, okay, audience, call in as to why you think Leslie would be on the front page of the Lowell Sun. Because just having listened to Fun Friday for as long as I did, I have a laundry list of reasons, and I would not have guessed the actual.
Well, it wasn't a lack of bail money. So that's good. I know people at the court, so I'd be all right there.
There you go.
No, my father was a World War II veteran.
Okay.
And he came to the city in 1952 to go to Lowell Tech on the GI Bill. And he was a radio gunner on B-24 Liberators. So they, Paul Rattayam, city councilman Rattayam.
Vice Mayor Paul.
Vice Mayor, that's correct.
He's got, you know.
That is correct. He created a program, or brought in a program that's around the world, country really, about honoring veterans and first responders. And my father happens to be the one from 1945, you know, the tilted hat, the eyebrow,
Nice.
the smile, and
Dapper.
everything. And Melanie Gilbert from the Lowell Sun said that it might make the weekend edition. And it should be on the, it might be on the front.
So your father is getting one of those hometown hero banners.
That's correct.
Right? That they put up throughout the city
fantastic.
commemorating
That is correct.
Military veterans, heroes,
And
the
first
greatest
responders.
generation,
That's
as they say. And yet, despite this fame, you received another "Who are you?" from the guy honoring your dad. You have to tell this story, please.
Oh my God. Where was I going with that, Teddy?
Well, you were at a
happened.
flag planting.
It happens. I was at the flag. Oh, I was at the flag planting.
I should have brought a notebook. I feel like I need to take notes.
I was at the flag planting, and Paul Rattayam, city councilman who started the program, is in all black. He's very respectful, and he shakes my hand and he says, "Hello, how are you? I'm Paul Rattayam." I said, "Paul, I know you. I've known you for years." I go, "Teddy Panos, Teddy Panos." And then it clicks. "Oh, Leslie, okay." And so from that point on, he grabbed my arm and he took good care of me.
So a little background there. Leslie and I, when we were doing the morning show together on the radio, then candidate Paul Rattayam invited us out to lunch at a delicious Cambodian restaurant, Simply Khmer. So Leslie and I spent 2 hours having lunch
With his wife.
Paul and his wife.
And I said, you actually treated us to lunch. Yes, I did.
And he didn't recognize you.
And then he says, "It was so nice meeting you 9 years ago." I go, "Yes, it was. I have another one."
He must not have seen you in a hat.
Ben O'Para.
Ben O'Para forgot you too?
Teddy Panos. Teddy Panos.
That's what you do when you're not recognized. You
Yes,
just say your name.
Yeah, and except when she first says it, they all think that it's me in drag, that I'm transitioning.
Oh, no.
My voice is much
Because her
deeper.
voice-
Yeah, no. She has a much
your
better
voice is-
laugh.
No, and then I started to laugh because I can't say it with a straight face. No one knows me. And he went, "Leslie," I said, "Ben, you texted me one day when Teddy was giving me a lecture." And I said to him, "Teddy, what is this, the Sermon on the Mount?" And you texted me. He goes, "Oh, Leslie." Yeah, so he remembered me. And I said, "I voted for you, Ben." So we were fast and furious. I met his lovely wife. So it was quite a time. Yeah, he's got
No
out
lunch
there.
plans, though. No lunch plans.
No.
Not with Ben. But Leslie's not averse to saying yes to a free lunch.
Man,
Oh, and I got a free drink last night.
Who'd you hit up for the drink last night?
I'm hanging with the wrong people. Leslie,
Yeah, you go.
You are
Leslie,
now
you'll-
my person.
You'll never pay for a drink if you have.
It's funny in my hand, and I heard someone from behind me go, "You don't pay for drinks." And I didn't know who it was.
Who was
Who was it?
I don't know.
You still don't know?
It was just out in the mills.
Somebody bought you a drink?
No,
But she
And you
accepted
didn't
it.
even know who it
But
was?
she
no, I
accepted
just
it.
had a 20. They go, "You don't carry money." No, I don't normally. No, I don't. But it was a wonderful time. I had a ball, and I would recommend going to these events quite often. I had one and done.
Well, they're fundraisers. You're supposed to give donations. Did you give a donation?
I was actually invited complimentary. It said complimentary on the invitation.
There wasn't a suggested donation.
No. Just a gift to gab.
Did you hear that, Representative Elliott? The cheap prick who didn't give you a penny? Bodor.
I didn't eat anything.
Was there food?
I didn't eat anything, and I bought my own. Well, I didn't buy my
You didn't
own.
buy your own drink.
Leo Sheridan bought me a drink,
Okay.
which is lovely. I had my dues and soda. And I left with my 20.
As you always do.
I do.
Did you leave with anybody else's 20 like
No,
you
but
usually do?
I had to hit Lisa and Sarah up for some money because I ordered some takeout and I was a few bucks short.
Wow. All right, maybe I shouldn't hang with Leslie.
It happens.
You'll end up in prison.
That's all right. I know people.
All right, Bodor, the celebrity, the person everybody recognizes but doesn't really know how.
Until I laugh. Yeah.
Or yells your name, Teddy Panos.
Teddy Panos. You're like, and they go, yes, I know Teddy. I'm part of it. I'm the L. I'm the TLC.
Just you were the L in the TLC.
Well, we'll leave that alone now.
So when last we left you, Joe,
Yeah.
you had come here and I mean it was your third Daily Pulse
Yes.
appearance, but for some reason that one exploded. In like, I believe everybody in the town of Tewksbury either watched it on
Or one person watched it
InsideLowell.com.
600 times.
No, because
And he claimed not to watch it at all. I mean, let's be real. I didn't know. I watched it once. I will admit when I watched myself or other people on this.
it only registers once from each IP
Oh, okay.
address.
Because that's what I found it interesting that he claims never to have watched one, but he was very pointed in his responses.
Well,
and
people told him.
no one's taking notes for that guy. No, he was in. He was invested. He had notes.
So Mark Kratman came in. I figured it'd be
Yeah.
fair because you'd spent 3
Absolutely.
podcasts,
Yep.
kind of dumping on him. So I figured let's be fair.
Is it dumping or is it just talking about an upcoming election and certain people's roles in it? I mean, that's the thing that's frustrating to me is he takes this very personally, which he probably should in some ways because I don't respect him as a person. But the reality is I was saying how things are in Tewksbury right now, and nothing he said when he came in refuted how things are in Tewksbury right now. Like, he laughed about being called the puppet master. He put people up on different boards, so he has control of those boards. So that's a given. People know that. I am evidently the only one who is saying it, but everyone in town knows it, that's how things are right now in Tewksbury, and evidently that's how people want things in Tewksbury. And so that's why I find it amazing. I'm not running for anything right now.
He questions
He's
that.
not my opposition
he
in
says
anything.
You sound like a candidate and you're going to run.
I will
something.
run when the town finally decides that that's what they're ready for. And right now, they're not. Right now, they want what they have. And unfortunately, I will sit on the sidelines
he
and
did
hopefully
top the
not
ticket.
say. I don't think he did. Did he? Or Rich
Well,
Russo did?
from the selectman race, I believe.
Did he top it, or was it Rich Russo?
I
think.
thought he topped it.
I don't know, but see, that's the kind of things that's this is why he frustrates me, because he sits here and he looks you in the face and he says that he's won, he's topped the ticket every time since he was charged with his OUI, his third OUI, which it was nice to see that he finally admitted that there was something going on with that, because he would always dodge that, and he took, I think, somewhat of accountability. So good job. I think
he admitted to having
that's one of the steps, and I'm glad to see that it's
years
finally on
ago.
record.
He said he's changed his lifestyle.
I'm sure.
And
I'm sure.
So we hope. I certainly hope that's the case.
I do
hate to see
too, because
anybody
I think next
struggling
time
with
it
any
would be
issues.
the third OUI. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to dodge that bullet again. So I hope for his benefit that is truly the case, and for the town's benefit, because clearly we have no problem with having people in these types of positions with carry records and whatnot. But the reality is, he ran in 2021 and lost. So he was arrested in 2019. He ran in 2021 and lost.
He
so
did
now,
say on the show that he won
never lost.
He did lose. We looked it up. He did lose in 2021.
I mean, and that's what's so frustrating is I'm so tired. He represents the type of local politician that I am so exhausted from having to acknowledge their existence. He did not come in second in Wilmington for the state race. He came in fifth. He got 110 votes. He came in a distant fifth, but he acts like he was robbed of that, like that he was so close to being the state rep.
Well, he came in second in the town,
topped the
wasn't
ticket
it?
in Tewksbury by 9 votes to the guy who won, and came in fifth in Wilmington, which was the more important town for that election, with 110 votes. So basically, people were like, he's a dude, I'll vote for him in Wilmington, right? And ironically, I mean, now I'm really spilling the tea. The OUI, this infamous OUI in 2019.
I don't think it was tea.
I knew I could get it. I just pour a little.
He was Veterans Day.
Fluid
He
on
was
the charcoal.
celebrating Veterans Day with a Wilmington Select Board member who thankfully stopped running for Select Board when I got on the Wilmington Select Board, because he is very much cut from the same cloth.
You drove him out?
I did not. I don't think. I don't know. I think I'm not going to claim that. But let's just say when I got on the board, he decided his tenure on the board was over after that.
You have a knack for pissing off men as well as Bodor does.
Well,
No wonder the two of you get along.
My existence tends to piss off and threaten in some ways male politicians. It seems some of them love me. You know, like I don't think I don't want to play the identity politics card. But I think the reality is I represent to people like Mark Kratman the females they don't want to be around. It's easy to try to say we're like these angry whatever. The reality is I'm not angry. You know, I'm disappointed in my town because I think we deserve better, and I wish more people in the town thought we deserved better. But the reality is he's a hack. And he's a hack that continues to get to be a hack. And
Wow.
and I
Don't hold back.
no, but it is what it is. I mean, he came at town meeting. He kept saying, "I don't know what her problem with me is. We've never actually had a conversation." He comes up at town meeting. We just had Tewksbury town meeting. Stands in front of me. I say, "Mark," acknowledges existence. He gives me a head nod and then talks around me while standing right in front of me for about 5 minutes. Not sure what that was supposed to do. He had a nice suit on that night. Was I supposed to notice that? But the reality is
What kind of suit was it?
I don't know.
Armani?
I mean, no. Are you kidding?
Suit.
No, it was a suit. Which again, my rant before we went live, I wish more politicians would suit up because I will say he was one of the few select board members
There
at
you
town
go.
meeting that had a suit on. So kudos, Chairman Kratman, for suiting up.
Perhaps there could be a détente between the two of you.
Well, I'm honestly tired of talking about him, and I would like to say, if he decides to come on with me, he said at the end that he would arrange it, Teddy.
He said he would come
More
on
than
and do
happy.
a joint podcast with you.
Psyched.
All right.
More than happy to do
I
that.
will reach out today to him.
And when
we
he's
will
too
try
busy
find
to
a
do
date.
that, which is the expectation, because God forbid we ever be in the same room where we actually get to match wits and he has someone fact checking the crap he says, like that he's mobbed at Market Basket. Yeah, that happens. And that everyone's calling him all the time. They were calling him all the time because they were really upset, Teddy, that he said they should close down Tewksbury Hospital, which is the biggest employer in Tewksbury. So he was getting a lot of calls, but from what I heard, he wasn't returning many of them. I'm more than happy to be on with him. But the reality is the next time I plan on talking about him is when something happens in town that I can then say, "I told you so," which I hate. I've said this to you before. My husband loves to stand in the position of "I told you so." Well, that's my husband loves that. I look at it as a failure because I can see it coming. I see the train coming, right? I'm trying to stop the train from hitting anything. The train's gonna hit something eventually, and I'm just gonna be sitting there and be like, "Yeah, I told you the train was coming." But I'm going to do it in this case. So the next time I will say his name will be when I'm pointing out to the town of Tewksbury that we could have done better and we should have done better. You know, because the next big thing is that lithium battery thing. If you drive through Tewksbury, you see the signs right now, right? So he's convinced everyone that they should vote a certain way because he now has control of the planning board, which is why the MBTA communities thing got voted down last minute before it went. And we're going to rely on him to make that decision. Is terrifying to me.
Well, there are a lot of communities that are pushing back on that. The
MBTA communities, yeah.
So funny you mentioned the lithium battery thing. I got a mess. I never answer my phone. Anyone who calls me, if for some reason I don't have your phone stored, I won't answer it if I don't recognize the number. So I get it. It was a weird call from a weird area code to boot. Left a message. I listened, and it was a lady who said, you don't have to call me back, but I'm really concerned about this battery thing
In Tewksbury?
Yeah. So I have no idea what she was talking about. Talk to me. What's going on? Lithium battery?
There's a proposal, and it's very rudimentary proposal, very beginning stages. The state hasn't approved it yet, right? So just again, everyone, draw close, and I will actually give you the 2-minute. This is what is actually happening versus this is what the fear mongers want you to believe is happening. There is a lithium battery company that is trying to get permission from the state board that governs lithium battery companies to have a lithium battery plant in Tewksbury. It would be somewhat behind the Emerald Court area, just to kind of give you off of Main Street.
Just quick pause.
Yeah.
There's a state agency that governs.
It's like
lithium
energy
batteries.
and something. Yeah. It's
not so lithium battery
plant. It's like an energy board that you have to get approval from the energy. I wish I knew the acronym.
Right, so it's not like a little battery that I stick in my
No. This is like the big stuff. This is like the stuff that people need for like pacemakers and like different computers. It's a
the
big
ones that catch fire when they're on a scooter. And
so that's the thing. So that's what everyone's concerned with, because if you Google lithium battery plants, you will inevitably see a bunch of fires that are broken out in different parts of the country where these plants have been allowed. So that's what the concern is the safety around that, right? The reality is the company needs to prove to the state why it would be okay to do it, and then the company would need to prove to the town why it would be okay to do it. There's a lot of processes involved, right? So Tewksbury, I guess to get ahead of that possibly being
I'm
an
gonna
issue.
sneeze.
Okay. Has decided to change part of the zoning, right? So right now they have industrial zoning, and they decided to carve out a specific zoning for battery plants, like battery storage, right?
Okay.
And so that basically, because the proposed site right now is zoned industrial, and the thought was, technically, if it goes through the state and they try to put it there, it's already zoned industrial, that they would just have to go through the planning board and they could be there. They decided to carve it out, so people are like, oh, this is like an extra layer. It's not. It's just saying it's in the planning board's discretion. So we didn't really do anything at town meeting, but everyone acted like it was a big deal because Mark Kratman now has a stronghold on the planning board, and he's promising that he would never allow this battery plant to be there, just like he promised that if a certain woman was elected to the planning board, he would make sure the MBTA communities did not come back as a vote in town meeting, which he accomplished.
Do you support the battery?
I would want more information. I mean, this is the reality based on like the real information that the town has put out, that the state has put out about these types of plants. It seems like they have to put together a lot of documentation and information as to safety protocols, right? So that's the ultimate concern is I don't care what goes on in a storage facility as long as it stays within the storage facility.
Sure.
It becomes a problem if there's going to be some uncontained fire that can't be controlled, right?
Right.
So based on what I'm reading, that's like legitimate information, other battery storage facilities have created a self-contained kind of warehouse. So even if a fire breaks out, it stays within the warehouse. So then the concern is, well, even if it's within the warehouse, will it emit like cancer-causing chemicals? So those are the types of things
They
that
supposedly contain nuclear reactor leaks too.
correct. Well, the reality is I want more information. So I can't say. I mean, I'm always a fan of seeing jobs, revenue to the town, more tax bases to the town.
Yeah.
But the reality is if it's going to be a safety concern, if the fire chief says to me, I trust Chief Kearns. So if he says to me, this is a bad idea because we don't have the ability to support such a facility, vote no. Bad idea, right? But I'm not listening to the Facebook people. And that's, I guess, where I frustrate people because I keep asking for kind of the information and the logic and not just relying on someone posting on Facebook what their thoughts of the day are or that it's going to burn for 10 days and we're all going to die. I want someone who's actually in the business to tell me a little bit more about it. So I don't know. I can't give you an answer. I want more information.
But by the way, have you noticed the common theme ever since I said we're going to call this Bodor and Buckley, the killer bees, Bodor and Buckley? Everything is now bee related, right? MBTA,
here we go.
lithium battery. Everything it keeps coming back to the bees with Bodor and Buckley.
So challenge accepted to not use any more words that have that letter in it. I guess.
Wow.
I'm not going to let you. I'm just trying to figure out how do we get a bee with Kratman. What's his middle initial?
I don't know.
What if imagine if it's like Mark B. Kratman?
I don't think it is, but I don't know.
We'll get a B for him, and we're also going to invite him to come in here with you because I want to see this happen. I either want to see the implosion or the
I will tune into that for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
See.
So you're saying you will do it.
100%. I would do it. 100%.
So you're on camera saying you do it. He's on
Mark,
camera saying
come
you do
in,
it?
please. Let's have a conversation with Teddy here to protect you.
All right. Don't wear your little stick. You'll be accused of not liking.
No.
Did you hear that?
I have to tell you, I found his style kind of. I don't want to say charming, but I like politicians who don't just take the, even like I'm not even sure where I stand on this MBTA community thing, but I like people who like to challenge authority or the way it is. So anyone who stands up to Governor Healy, I mean, she's out there, she's filing a lawsuit every chance she gets against the federal government, but she doesn't like it when people disobey her here in Massachusetts.
So here's my question.
I kind of like that.
Do you look at what they're disrupting, though? Like, so here, I love disruptors. I love it when the underdog wins. I love it when there's a small group of people that rise up to a bureaucracy that shouldn't make sense, right?
Another B, bureaucracy.
Get all that. I get all that. Here's what I hate. I hate people who are disruptors just for the sake of being a disruptor. So that's the difference, Teddy, right? So peel back that onion just a little bit more, and you'll see the same suit from Wilmington, who basically would always be the dissenting vote because I'm the dissenting vote. I stand for the people because I'm voting against the majority. Sometimes the majority is right, And so here's what I would like. I would like to have people who represent me who actually take the time to think through the consequences, who actually take the time to do due diligence as to what's our liability if we don't do this. That's all I'm asking. I'm not, and again, I know common sense really pisses people off when they want to just be the disruptor and the dissenter. But the reality is that's when I think it's awesome, is when you're the dissenter because there's a reason behind your dissent, not just because you want to go against the flow because that is cool in your world.
We need more of that. We need more of that.
You know?
That's why I keep inviting her back.
But that's the reality.
Unfortunately, she has a real job and can't afford to quit it right now. Come in here for the
nothing.
laugh.
I don't even get a shirt. I was saying,
I'll get you
I'm wearing my Cat shirt.
I'm putting you on the
From my
list.
WCAP day.
Do you have the ladies in mind with your shirts, or are they collared golf shirts?
I don't know.
No, I have a sweatshirt collection. So we'll work. We'll take care of Bodor and Buckley, the killer bees.
Killer bees.
I'll take what's left over. I don't care.
We'll continue our discussion with Leslie Bodor and Jo Marie Buckley in a quick second, and we're going to introduce yet another bee. It's all about the bees today, and we're not making any honey, I promise you. First, let me thank my daily... Bodor, you're going straight to hell. That's a T.
Thankfully,
Those
the camera
are T's,
was not.
not B's.
I was going to say.
Anyway, thank you to our Daily Pulse sponsors. Ray Booten, B, licensed realtor, Mass in New
Poor
Hampshire,
Ray.
certified appraiser in both states as well. Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks to WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Washington Savings Bank, banking that feels like home. Banking, make the switch now to Washington Savings. TMI Properties, quality and value at every price point. Find your perfect space with TMI. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection in Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. The Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in our communities through strategic, impactful philanthropies. Francis D. Prevention Insurance, the agency Greater Lowell has counted on to insure its most valued asset since 1982. Leslie's buddy, Frank Prevention. What's the website, Leslie?
Leslie put herself in
Attention,
timeout.
ladies. I went into a timeout.
She put herself in timeout.
It was lovely seeing you last night, sir.
FEPINS.com. That's FEPINS.com. Don't say it too quickly, could get in trouble. And by the Massachusetts Pirates, bringing all the hard-hitting action and excitement of arena football to the Mill City. Pirates' next home game, Thursday, May 29th. That's a Songus to Center. I hope to see you there. By the way, so my son is his Little League team this spring is the Pirates. He's on the Pirates.
Nice.
Cool, the black and great uniform. But the coach has them, between every inning they do their huddle, they put their hand in.
Arg.
And he breaks with, what's a Pirate's favorite letter? And the whole team in unison, Arg! And they lift their arms up and go on, which I still find humorous.
I'm surprised that's allowed.
Why?
I don't know. There's got to be some group that's like protective of pirates.
I don't know. If you ever go to a Pirates game, their mascot is called Arthur.
Nice.
He's Arthur, the mascot. So he came over to. I was there with my wife, my kids, my godson, and a couple of my cousin's kids. And Arthur came over to shake everybody's hand and high five.
Does he speak?
As he walked in front, you can't hear him if he does. I don't know if he does. But he walked by me, and I'm like, Arthur, and he kind of looked at me all disgusted. And my wife's like, don't embarrass me like that. So,
That's great.
But pirate jokes never get old.
I guess not.
They never get old.
I just would assume in today's day and age that someone's offended.
I don't care.
The pirates are still not.
But I'm just saying. So I came up with. You saw this. He says I'm boring on Facebook. That I always just post pictures of like my dogs and kids, which is true.
Yeah.
But I did.
Somebody who's so combative on these podcasts. It's boring on social media.
Did you see the one where I said I was at my daughter's basketball game, right? So it was a couple months ago. And the boys were warming up in the corner, and the ref yelled, "Hold your balls!" And I swear to God, we were playing. It wasn't the. My daughter still plays in Wilmington. It wasn't the Wilmington Parents. It was the other team. I'm not going to say where they're from, but they're, their signs fly differently.
Balls are better.
And there was an audible gasp. And I was like, we haven't, in 2025, we haven't come up with a better way of saying hold your balls to kids playing basketball.
Well, when they nap at night, they hold them anyways.
Yeah.
All right. One thing you guys had in common, why you're kind of soul sisters even before you ever met and appeared on a show
we have
together.
each other's numbers. So
Everybody's
in trouble.
Hey, look, you want to make this a regular thing every other Friday, but the killer bees. I'm all for that. But you both share a passion for the Karen Read trial.
Yes.
You've watched it religiously, both of them. You watched the first one. You said you watched every single.
Pretty much. I would listen
guys are
to it.
nuts.
When I was driving to and from work, I would listen to it. The first one. The second one, I only listened to openings. I listened to certain people's testimony, and then I would listen to like the highlight summaries of it.
All right. So by the way, we've added a B to the Q&A trial. Brennan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Attorney Brennan, the prosecutor, Hank Brennan, who Leslie loves. She says it's a whole new ball
Whitey
game.
Bulger.
Because of her Bulger, another B. It's all about the B's.
He was one of my
Actually,
teaching
no.
assistants. Yeah.
Hank
So
Brennan.
when I went to Suffolk Law School, I took a criminal procedure class, and he was the teaching assistant. The actual professor was one of Whitey Bulger's attorneys, 𝐁𝐮𝐤𝐤.
𝐁'𝐮𝐤𝐤, yes.
Hank would come in and kind of be his assistant for a lot of our classes. And
So this was after the Bulger trial.
Yeah.
So
This was in like 2001, going into 2002. It was
How
my last year.
was that received by the class that you had Whitey Bulger's attorney
Well, it was,
teaching a class?
It was one of those things. So this is where, so I was an evening student, but I was like the most traditional law student. I went right from college to law school, but I was working full time and going nights. And there were a lot of kids in my class that were older people who were coming back for second careers, so they knew right away. And I was like this ignorant little kid who wasn't really paying attention, like I am now sometimes.
Well,
when
Mark
talk about
Ramos,
things,
you're
I'm
still
like,
that ignorant.
whatever. You won't call me a kid though. But so I like one of my one of my professors was Tom Finneran's attorney.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Right.
Jesus.
And so people knew this, and I'm just sitting here like do this, and oh my God, he's so, every time he talks, he's so smart. Like I had such a crush on Hank Brennan, not so much from his looks, although like I could
He's
get
very unassuming.
right, but his brain.
Oh,
and
it's
that's
unbelievable.
And that's why, like Jackson, I was saying, I had a crush on Jackson in the first trial. Not a crush, like I love my husband. My husband's the smartest man I've ever met in real life. Like I will say that outright. But these two gentlemen, for attorneys, like watching them perform, it's like that is what you aspire to be. That's what,
I have an issue.
I'm
Here we go.
going
Let's do
to
it.
create an AI photo of Alan Jackson coming up behind
God.
Joe Marie.
Hugging me. Oh. I told you I watched the Frank Spector documentary on
And not
Netflix.
kill a
just 'cause
beast
he was
for nothing,
interviewed for a minute.
I'm not going there, honey. I said nothing. I'm just telling you. I said
Tell me
nothing.
the issue,
That's
Leslie, and let's have
My
beef.
issue is that Yannetti and Jackson are trying the exact same case.
Yep.
As
100%.
before.
It's a winning
100%.
case.
It's not anymore because Hank Brennan has brought in new witnesses. There's new testimony.
Well-
There's new evidence. The way he's presenting it is different. And Lally is finally speaking up so you can hear him.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched all of the second one, but do you think the cell phone evidence about the temperature is,
Yes.
do you think that's compelling?
I do it. I find it compelling because it watches a slow decline of body heat and he's lying on it.
Okay.
So it directly correlates with his Apple Watch and his phone. And then it doesn't have him ever cooling down, warming up, I mean.
Well, so let me ask you this question. So again, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
So just Teddy, you know enough about this. So basically,
I know a lot about it, but I again, most of the stuff I hear is from pro Karen Reed.
So the second trial, the only, in my opinion, from the little that I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the second trial, the only different evidence being presented right now is the prosecution is now showing that his cell phone, John O'Keefe's cell phone, started temping down, basically from the moment Karen left the scene, right?
100%.
And so they're using that to show he didn't go into the house. He wasn't, because the defense is kind of throwing. I mean, they haven't really given a solid, this is what actually happened, but they're kind of alluding to he went into the house, there was some type of altercation, and they dragged him back out.
This is the huge problem I have with them, the Yannetti and her defensive team. They know that Hank Brennan's going to object to a line of questioning. So they'll say, did you see a glass? And Brennan will say, I object. And then they'll say, did you ever see it in the house? I object. Did you see it in a cabinet? I object. So they're trying to try the case through questions, not getting answers, but just through the questioning. They're putting it out there so the jury hears a theory. Could the body
the
have
judge
been
won't
placed
allow
there?
them to give their
Because
theory,
it's not based in any evidence.
They don't have, the
They
theory's
can't.
regulated. But
why so here's one of the things. You're a defense attorney.
I'm
a prosecutor. I'm a DCF attorney, so technically I'm a prosecutor.
okay.
But I was a defense attorney for 10 years
That's my
before
girl.
I became a
But see,
prosecutor.
I
But
agree with
defense doesn't have to prove.
Anything.
No, it's not on
All
them.
the defense has to say
Create
what
reasonable
you're
doubt.
charging is
Reasonable
not
doubt.
accurate.
Yeah.
That's correct.
And that's why I still think if they overcharged her, and if they had charged her properly the first time around, this wouldn't still be a thing.
Well, Hank's going for second-degree murder because of her car computer. She's idling at the scene. She puts it into reverse. She revs 70% down onto the accelerator, accelerates backwards, and gets up to 3 miles an hour, and does a 3-point turn. That's what's been brought in now, and it wasn't brought in before the way it is being brought in this. And I have hit a pedestrian.
Okay.
I have actually hit a pedestrian in my cruiser.
Whether it was on purpose or not.
No, but I knocked her out of her shoes.
Okay.
And he came out of his sneaker.
Did she have lower body injuries when you hit her?
She banged her head.
Okay, but did she have lower? Didn't. So one of the things I have to
that
ask.
there was no
So the
hips.
prosecution. I can't help
was
but
knocked
think
out, too.
The prosecution witnesses end up being on the defensive, which is really weird to me here. Like the prosecution spending more time trying to defend the witnesses than with Jen McFang and all the others, and Buckley and then another B, right? Buckley, Buchanan.
Yuri Buchanan.
I mean,
He wouldn't give him an inch.
There's clearly no IQ test required, though.
Well, what's interesting, though, the gentleman from California, Jackson, he doesn't understand snow and berms. He had no concept of what could be a berm from a plow, that it's ice and it's debris and it's snow and it's packed and it's not something fluffy and nice. He didn't understand it. And he didn't understand hypothermia very well from a New England standpoint and our weather. And it came across in the case. Oh, I stand corrected. Oh, I stand corrected. His line of questioning was a complete no knowledge of our climate and what a nor'easter is like. He didn't have any info on it.
Didn't the witness yesterday, the pathologist?
Yeah, she was the
didn't she say
coroner.
the coroner? Didn't she say there were no injuries? She didn't notice any lower body injuries.
No, the knee.
And they usually with
Right knee.
What was the injury?
She's impact trauma to the right knee. There's bruising.
Oh, I thought she said that there
I think the
wasn't
first
any.
trial there wasn't any, right?
They didn't mention it at all.
Yeah.
But now it exists.
Because it in fact it occurred.
And that's why mistrials suck, because basically both sides get more time.
Well, he's only injured on the right side of his body, and when you imply a fist fight, that's kind of a
Well,
in my fist fights anyway, it comes at from all angles. He's only hurt on the right side, even though he has an eye contusion here. It's the blood that drained down from when he was so supine.
allegedly.
Nice.
Well, that's how I'm leaning, but I haven't seen the other side yet, so I'm trying to keep an open mind as much as possible.
When is the prosecution going to call the lead investigator?
I don't think Proctor's coming.
Oh, he's coming. But
I don't think. I don't know. Do you think the defense is going to bring him in?
I would hope so.
Yeah, I think it's necessary.
Just to get this.
Again,
He's nasty.
To believe that what the prosecution is alleging is accurate, you have to kind of suspend belief in so many actions. For if nothing happened, if it happened the way the prosecution theorizes it happened, then a bunch of people are acting really strange.
Agreed.
They're acting guilty, even though they're completely innocent. They're eliminating cell phones. There's disappearing video footage that might prove conclusive one way or the other. How many different coincidences? And now the lead investigator, you've got this Buchanan guy, won't even call him the lead investigator because he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the flip side of that. When you have a conspiracy that involves more than two people, don't you generally, it gets uncovered a little bit at a time, over time? And the fact that these people are not Mensa candidates, right? All of these witnesses, right? They're the drunk hockey parents. Sorry, I'm probably going to offend people by saying that. But that's the reality, is like these are the people that would go to a hockey game with their kids and then they'd go out to bars afterwards and drink. And they work their jobs and, they're waiting for Friday so they can do it again.
Hockey is huge in Wilmington. Don't make fun of hockey.
And Tewksbury as well. And I'm just saying, like, that's how they've been presented. That's how they've been presented. They're all interconnected townies, right? For lack of a better word. If Canton has such a thing as townies, which I'm assuming they do, because we've now met them in the Albert and McCabe families.
Well, if I were the Alberts or the McCabe's and all of that was happening on my lawn, I always put myself into the position of being a multi-millionaire. And if I was a DuPont and that happened on my front lawn, I wouldn't come out either.
Well, I would call help. I would call someone to
Slip
clear
right through it.
the debris.
They came no siren. They just came lights.
A lot of sleep, but a lot of butt dials.
But the reality is,
That's
if there was some type of conspiracy, someone would have given it.
And I don't give Canton PD and those troopers I don't give them the credit for being able to conspire with first responders and
I think it was just a really
people.
sloppy job. And the reality is, because it's a really sloppy job, there's a ton of reasonable doubt. And that's at the end of the day, putting on my lawyer hat, not saying whether she did it or not. I don't think there's enough to show she did it definitively.
It's so much juicier to believe the conspiracy theory, though, isn't it?
Well, but you think about small town, like the small town world. How many times in small towns that we all know of do the police look the other way because it's someone who's connected?
I wouldn't personally know about doing that.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember growing up.
All the time.
You know, growing up, it wasn't my town. It wasn't Burlington. Burlington's perfect, and I love it so much. And, you know, yay,
Except
Burlington.
for the school committee.
Well, it was all... You know, there was a neighboring town when I was in high school that there was like a big controversy because there was a drunk driving with a kid, like a high school kid, and it was covered up because the kid's parent was somehow connected to like one of the politicians of that town, right? That's not unusual. Okay,
not back in the day, no.
No, and I don't think even today. I think there's probably examples that you hear about in small town gossip of things happening, but because it's that person's kid, they turn the other way. And that was one of the things that in the first trial they were really trying to allude to, and I think Turtle Boy was trying to allude to, is what the Alberts kid or one of the McCabe kids, like they were the ones who actually beat the guy up. It wasn't even that he went inside. It was one of the teenage kids who had bloody knuckles 2 days later and said it was because of falling while he was skateboarding or something, was the one who beat the crap out of him and left him there.
So many coincidences involving the people in the house and weird occurrences.
Injuries don't sustain a fight.
I can't see sitting on that jury and not saying, you know what, there is some reasonable doubt here.
Right.
Especially once
the what do you think of the
dog bites?
The dog bites?
They're not dog bites.
The scratches?
The gouges, actually.
But how do you get them? How did he get them?
He's holding the rocks glass.
And the glass broke?
No. He sees her coming.
Yeah.
He stiffens his arm.
Yeah.
It's called an implosion injury.
Okay.
You usually get them on your torso and your legs.
Why is it the coroner?
So why isn't his
saying any
hand?
of this?
Was his hand cut up?
But why aren't they saying any of this?
He is. He is in his opening statements. He said, did you see glass? Has there been glass? Did you find glass? They're talking about that rocks glass. How did that rocks glass get broken and on the lawn?
Did the coroner say that's a possibility?
No.
Wouldn't you see cuts on his hand? That's an easy one. If he's holding that rocks glass and
But what it is it's a pressure. It's a splicing of pressure. So you implode. When someone's dead at a car scene, which I've seen many times in car accidents, I'm the first one at the scene. I know a dead body the minute I get there. There's no injury. You're just gray, you're staring at me, and you have imploded. You've literally imploded. All your organs are smashed, but you look fine, but you're gone. I have seen splice wounds like that at autopsy. So it is at least...
So why'd they get rid of the dog?
The dog, you can't introduce that.
the carpet in the basement.
They sold the house.
That's what I'm saying. For a bunch of people who were just trying to find out what happened to their dear beloved friend, they did a lot of things that make it look like...
Because if that dog got rehomed and that dog still existed, I would be like, here's the dog. I own the dog now.
The dog never bit anybody. They didn't get any saliva.
So why would you ever get rid of the dog?
Ray Booten says, well, the snow got rid of it. I said, he had a sweatshirt on. He was not bare-armed when he hit or was injured. So how did a dog bite him through the sweatpants? They redressed him?
Was the sweatshirt? That's a good point, actually. Was the sweatshirt have any rips or anything? No, it didn't.
No, it did not. And there's no DNA saliva from a canine.
Did they redress? That's kind of interesting. So they
I still want to know why they got rid of the dog then.
But that can't be introduced, my sister.
I understand, but it's still suspicious. It's suspicious behavior. I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, if she gets found guilty, I'm not going to be that upset about it.
Oh, I could care less either way.
I just don't want, if it's another mistrial, I feel like I speak on behalf of Massachusetts. We don't want to watch a third one. So just keep it to yourself. Keep it off of court TV. We're done.
That's correct. Two and done.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Because then it just becomes this chase to prove the case to make her guilty.
Well, and that's the thing. The more time that passes, like you saw Jen McCabe on the stand, she doesn't remember anything anymore. And he's kind of going after, you don't remember this, you don't remember. After time, you don't remember things the same way. You might remember the version of the story that you've had to tell a million times.
Yeah,
but
that's
you're
well
not
said.
going to remember all of the details.
Eyewitness statements are not to be trusted unless they're spontaneous at the time of the event. I'm listening for spontaneous statements.
Disappearing texts, though, can be trusted, right?
If they're introduced into
Deleted
court.
text.
I never
disappearing
deleted texts. Just
I
putting that on the record now in case anyone...
I delete
my wife
everything.
doesn't either. She always yells at me for doing it, but I try to, because I want to keep my current conversations
I delete everything.
like up at the top of my thing.
And crime scenes, I never took notes either. I get on the
State
stand.
police
I get
trooper.
on the stand. What trooper, may I see your notes? I don't take notes. I'm Mensa.
Right.
Well, she said there aren't Mensa on the job.
No,
but-
McCabe, the Alberts and McCabe.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, I mean, they may have been college
The state
degrees
police,
there, but
like, I mean, putting aside the
an
state police
indictment on our university
involved in this
system.
case, I feel awful. Like, I went to a concert at Gillette, and there's a Free Karen Reed billboard right outside, and the state troopers are directing the traffic, and people are yelling at them, and I'm like, that's unfair. That's unfair.
We can take a punch. It's okay.
I know, but it just really
Yeah.
upset me because I was like, here's these poor people doing their jobs, and because some idiot did something not probably the
correct.
best way to do it, now they're all getting, like, how many lawyers screw up every day? If someone started yelling at me because of some other lawyer's, fault, I'd be like, enough. We're all individuals.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, the stadies don't go covering up crimes.
Well, do you
and
notice
murders.
during
they take overtime at the airport, but they
Hank Brennan will not call him trooper. It's Mr.
Mr. Proctor.
Proctor.
Well, he's no longer a trooper.
No, he's
but,
not.
But again, it's
sends a
like
message.
when your lead investigator.
No.
is
It's a
this dude,
case. No.
Your case
No.
is screwed
The
up.
CPAC runs differently than a case manager. It's a case manager, not the lead investigator. You work as a unit. You have a case guy that has the name on the top, but everybody.
But he certainly took a lot of actions that were.
Well, I'd go to him because he's the one that drew the name off the board, but it is a concerted effort from the whole team. But he is the guy that has the name on everything, and he's an embarrassment.
Wouldn't you go into the house? Let me just. Nobody thought to actually go.
That was on
into the
Canton
house.
because the state police refused to come out to that scene. They didn't come out till later. And so Canton went in. Didn't see anything awry, according to testimony.
Canton went in.
Canton went in, according to the Canton police officer that went into the house. He didn't see anything awry. And
Now,
what,
is that new to the second trial?
that's new to the second trial.
See, that's what, again,
And one more
so
thing,
they
one
get
more
to
thing.
clean up some of the messiness of
Wait a
the
minute,
first trial.
they were there to respond to a medical emergency. They had
Correct.
no idea it was going to turn into a murder scene.
Right. First thing,
So
you're
they're
trying
there
to
for
save the
medical.
life. I get it.
And the guy's already gone. There's no body, and it is coming down sideways.
But you have to investigate.
You have to do
if you
something.
think the guy might die.
Well, you don't take
Right,
out a snowblower and put him in.
No, but there's car accidents where they don't
What do you think?
close off the highway because they know nothing's coming. But when they think someone's going to die, even though that person in the car accident left with a pulse, they suspect he's going to die. They immediately close off the highway to do reconstruction.
That's correct.
When you're doing an investigation where it looks like somebody's going to die, this person's very likely to die. Don't you close off the crime scene
Well, they
and now
couldn't
start
tape the
investigating?
30-mile-an-hour winds and the snow coming
They couldn't
sideways.
put
The
up tape.
You know, what are you
But
going
and
to
they
do?
couldn't go in the house either. The
Well, they-
stadies, once they arrived.
The stadies only went to the scene to pick up evidence. There wasn't.
But by the time the stadies got there, O'Keefe was dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So
wasn't even same day. Didn't
so
it?
we're like,
It was
okay,
the next
he-
day or-
No, he got there in the afternoon. They had to
he
drive
died
there.
at this house. Can we just go take a
Well,
look around?
you're not dead till you're warm and dead. So he was frozen. So
Right.
they started CPR.
Yes, but by the
techniques.
time Proctor and the state police show up on the scene, John O'Keefe is now dead.
That's correct.
Do you mind if we come inside and look around the house? And they never did.
Yeah.
No.
That
Because there
tells
was-
me that there had been communication.
They're now putting
Which
together.
again, I wish we could have texts to
at
find out.
At that point, they're trying to put an investigation together to see if there's foul play.
Yeah.
So,
So when you look at the house,
it's a medical emergency. He's died from it as a result. Did he have a heart attack? Did he have a stroke? Did he get hit by a car? Did he get beaten up by someone? Did a dog bite him? I mean, all those things are questions.
They
But it-
weren't questions though at first. That's the
no,
problem.
That's the problem, and that's why Mr. Proctor is gone.
Yeah.
That's why he's
So what-
And I had to go. I will say this. Here's another beat. I had to Google what a leaky balloon knot was from his death. No idea what that slang meant.
That'll be.
It's another beat.
Irritable
No.
bowel syndrome.
Rob says it all the time.
IBS.
Oh my
Poor woman.
god!
So-
I
That's why she had a long
because
break all the time.
I didn't
That was for you,
know.
Gilly. I have to do it at least once per podcast.
I did not know that the text existed. So I'm driving home from court for the first trial. I'm listening to it on YouTube as I'm driving, and whenever I heard weird accent, there's got to be more to this story. So
And you can't unsee that.
No. And I'm like, right there, it should have been like, okay, we're done. Like, if I was Lally, I would have been like, can we perhaps take a moment and rethink this whole thing?
You know, it's tricky. Being a woman on the job when I came on, too, I was persona non grata in a lot of places. And I was the only female trooper in an entire troop once.
Oh, wow.
And I had to go to locals if they had female emergencies and, you know, schizophrenics and all kinds of problems. But I don't know where I'm going with that.
You had to deal with people's leaky balloon.
You had a leaky balloon.
I know. Oh no, but that's tough with a gun belt. Ladies have to use the ladies' room. We just don't have a zipper, brother. The whole gear has to come down.
So they should make flaps, shouldn't they?
Yikes.
Remember the flaps?
Yes.
Remember the,
I'm not wearing a onesie, Teddy. What the hell?
all right.
Wow.
To be continued. But again, is there enough reasonable doubt now? And the defense hasn't even put their case forward again. Let's see what they
I
discover.
want her to have a
that's new.
vigorous defense, and so far she's getting a good defense.
She best defense that
$5 million
money can buy. Yeah. So we'll see how it comes out. I just think even if she did do it, the tragedy is that these knuckleheads butchered it so badly that they'll never. John O'Keefe will never find justice. His family will never.
Well, and
find
that's the heartbreaking
one way
part
or the
about
other. Whoever did it, they'll never know. The parents, everybody who loved that guy is going to go to their grave with the not knowing for sure what happened.
Those poor kids. I think about those kids. His niece and nephew, like that. I can't imagine what their life must be like with all of this circus around them.
Crazy. All right, before we wrap it up, a couple of things I want to hit on. First of all, why do you hate Jason Tatum?
I don't hate Jason Tatum.
Celtics Knicks tonight.
Yeah.
Game 6. Right. Basketball, another B.
Well,
It's all about the Bs.
I have a little bit of an issue with Tatum. Initially, when he was playing, I think he plays a little more like a franchise guy and not a team guy. And I like small ball when you're not hitting threes and you're hitting bricks. Try to give up that theory and maybe make it small ball. He had a tendency to over dribble and get into the mix and not score. And out of all the people to break ripping on a tendon, what do you call it, Achilles tendon, I'm not going to miss him as much as you think.
So I will leave open this possibility. But are you much of a basketball fan?
No, not anymore.
No, you know, so you don't even when it gets to like playoff time, you don't watch a lot of people.
I have a very random story that I'm not going to share with you, but like this time of year with the Celtics.
You're holding back?
Yeah, well, so basically my first marriage, when wedding night, we were watching the Celtics playoff game, and that should have said a lot about how that marriage was going to last. And we went on our honeymoon and watched it.
On your honeymoon, you watched the Celtics game?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
She kicked her husband out on April Fool's.
Yeah, good.
He thought it was a joke.
Good.
Well, he was loading up the U-Haul. He didn't understand why all my stuff was going in the U-Haul.
That's awesome. That could be another. We have another episode where we can compare those.
When you
The first
But yeah,
wives
so I
club?
always hate because now his
Oh, I had flags that day. I was getting
his new
emails that had
girlfriend.
flags.
He loves the Celtics. She wears like all Celtics crap. Oh
yeah.
So I just on principle, I'm not into it anymore. I take my kids. We go to games. You know,
We're taking this in 7. I'm sorry.
So I will say this.
It'll be interesting.
The game Jason Tatum got hurt, he had 40-something points.
I know.
When he got hurt. He was spectacular.
But
and yet, as the game progressed, I couldn't shake the feeling that he's hogging the ball so much that the other 4 guys are standing around.
You thought that too?
And before you know it, the Knicks, that game was lost before Tatum got hurt.
Yeah.
And so has that series, I thought. Now, the way the Celtics played the other night is how a basketball team plays. They had, I think, 27 assists. It was some crazy number.
From the bench.
They shared the ball. They moved the ball. I don't think they can pull it off on the road tonight.
I do.
I think all these guys are going to turn into pumpkins. Luke Cornett, the murder Cornett as they call him.
I love
think
him.
He's turning
He's hilarious.
He's turning into a pumpkin. I'm afraid Pritchard's going to turn into a pumpkin.
Pritchard's
again tonight.
that 6 man.
Hauser.
Pritchard's that 6 man.
If they win tonight,
Ooh.
I will
He said
agree
they're
with
going to win
Boulder.
it in 7. So I feel like there should be some type of wager I will witness.
I don't think
So
they
you
win
think
tonight.
they're losing tonight?
I think they're losing
You think
tonight.
they're taking it in game 7?
I think it's
which is what,
taking it
Monday?
in 7.
So when next we meet, one of you has to pay up something. What are we betting, guys?
Free drinks.
You got the free anyway.
She's getting the free drinks anyway, one way or the other.
Oh,
It's
you've
just a
been too
matter of
great
whether
for
I
that,
have to
by
buy it or some poor random schmuck.
You've been very good to me at the end. Ding, ding, ding.
So the last thing, because you guys both, criminal justice and an attorney, a state police officer, you've been a prosecutor, as we now know, for DCF. Numbers were really big. As to transition from basketball, last night the Denver Nuggets wore uniforms that had 5280, and their center court logo was 5280, which I was guessing was the altitude, and so my wife Google searched it, and that's what Denver, Colorado is 5,280 feet above sea level,
yeah.
1 mile high city. I get it.
Yeah.
But that was only the second most famous number of yesterday. 8647
Yeah.
became the most famous number yesterday when former FBI Director
It's a shell
James
game,
Comey, Michael Proctor with hair.
Shell game.
James Comey is Michael
conspiracy
Proctor with
theory.
hair.
I'm not a fan of Comey.
Suddenly was walking along a beach somewhere and found seashells
By the
arranged to show the number 8647.
Yeah.
What about the full five?
Now, Joe Marie, you mentioned that in
8675,
back between 2017 and
Right there. Right there. She knows.
8675. 8645 was a thing.
And I had no
4
idea. I had to
years
Google
ago.
it. Yeah.
45 happened to be Donald Trump's number between 2017 and 2021. He was the 47th president. 86, anybody who's ever slung hash at a restaurant knows 86. You 86 an item, it's done. It's done. The item's done. You get rid of it. It's no longer there, no longer available. 8645. Now we've got 8647. Donald Trump, 45. Joe Biden, 46.
Well,
Donald Trump,
86 Hillary Clinton, too, for God's sakes.
How stupid is James Comey?
He's stupid.
Yeah, and we get it. He hates Trump. Trump has not said nice things about him. Comey's spied on Trump. Whatever. But
Spied.
how dumb?
Oh, help me.
Oh no, they did. They
in the building? You're talking about the tower?
They bugged Trump's campaign headquarters, which got Richard Nixon kicked out of the White House, spying on a rival campaign. But it makes certain people heroes in 2016 and 2017. But regardless of that, you're the former director of the FBI.
I wish.
Why on earth would you share an Instagram photo of 8647?
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot, right?
I've hated him since he came the second time against Hillary
Mind
Clinton.
you, 47,
Hillary
there were 2 assassination attempts against, right?
Allegedly.
Oh, God.
Talk about conspiracy.
Are you like her?
I'm just saying. It's
I did
convenient
enjoy the
timing.
maxi pad, though. I thought
Convenient
that was
timing. I mean, a powerful image of him with the blood in this seems.
It was a great photo, by the way.
Yeah.
Great photo.
Yeah, it was
It's
all
in the
over
White
old.
House
It
now.
was all over old Orchard Beach on T-shirts a week later.
So James Comey is an idiot.
Barack Obama's painting and put that up.
Good. James Comey is an idiot for putting that out there.
Yeah,
He's now,
big time.
I doubt anything will happen to him, but he's caught the attention of Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence.
Generates conversation.
So
She hasn't been fired yet?
no, why should she be?
Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah, why would you? You don't like strong women, do you?
It generates. She loves strong women. Her and I are going to go for drinks after this.
I don't like strong
It generates conversation. It's why anything else happens. Why is anything on social media anymore? To generate conversation, to
Why
get
does he need
attention,
to generate
to get
conversation?
attention.
Oh, he's got a book coming out.
To get to get attention. I mean, think about it. Why do we do what we do? Like, you say you make fun of my Facebook page, but the reality is the only people I share stuff on Facebook with are people who would want to see cute pictures of my kids and my dog. I don't put political crap on there. I don't put
Depends on
other
the breed
stuff
of the
on
dog.
there. Oh, I have 3. They're beautiful dogs.
Has that ever bitten anyone?
My dogs, no. My old dog did. He used to bite my ex-husband.
Were they rehomed?
Never. Nope. So,
Did they take a bite out of crime?
my rant was that you post stuff on social media to garner some type of attention, and then when you get the attention, then you put your message
Just
out
like if
there.
it bleeds, it
so
leads.
yeah, he puts that out there, and now he's got the attention to either promote a book or to do whatever his next stance is.
What's
It's not
his
gonna go
book?
to-
There isn't a better way to do that?
There's all kinds of better ways to
The former
do that.
director of the FBI,
What an embarrassment.
who's trying to maintain some level of a legacy or reputation.
Teddy, you could say that about anything on Instagram, Facebook, X, or whatever it is now. all of that. There's better ways to do it for what people are trying to accomplish. But this is the world we live in, right? My daughter's birthday list is everything she sees on TikTok for a reason, right? Back in the day, it was everything we would see at Saturday morning cartoons, right? This is the world we live in. This is how you get attention.
Could that be seen as a threat?
It could be, yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised that that's not what the response is right now. 86, it's absolutely a threat.
I'm going to guess they're looking for a way to get him in jail for whatever period of time.
Yeah.
Be it an overnight stay or a longer one. But
yeah.
I don't think James Comey doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would fare well in prison, right?
No.
Former FBI director, probably put a lot of people.
I mean, he probably
put a lot of people in jail.
No, he's tall. He's a big guy.
Be in,
he'd be in isolation.
Fall.
Yeah,
They'd put him in isolation. We're all the same size on ground, Teddy.
That's right.
8'6".
Just remember, if you get in a mix with someone, knock them down. We're all the same size.
Chop down the tree.
Yeah.
Chop down, knock them down.
All right. Well, look at that. We end in agreement. James Comey's an idiot.
And punch once, punch hard.
Yeah. All right. They can no longer say.
Neither can you.
Leslie Bodor and Joe Marie
Breaking the
Buckley.
internet. We're breaking the internet today, Leslie.
I'm happy to do this more often.
What's the number we need to beat for views? Just so we know.
I'd have to go back and see.
'Cause
300 some odd.
We want some type of when it breaks it. We want it on Facebook with some type of like
a banner.
We'll commemorate it next week on our 100th anniversary
if you win, if the Celtics lose tonight, you have to get us some type of Killer Bee swag.
Okay.
And if the Celtics win tonight, we'll get Leslie a Celtic swag, and you'll get me a Killer Bee swag. So either way, you're not getting anything.
Do you remember Jim Belushi in the very first Saturday Night Live? He's wearing the bee.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Tim.
It's been fun. A lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun as well here as we wrap up another week of the Daily Pulse, a little bit of a Friday. Next week, what do we got next week? Let's see. We have, Lowell School Superintendent Liam Skinner will be here. You think his budget grilling the other night was tough? Wait till I get my questions in there on him. We will also celebrate our 100th episode of the Daily Pulse with the Pod Squad, Batch, and the Hyphen. They'll be here. I don't know what else I have the rest of the week, but I'll figure it out. But I want everyone to tune in every day, every weekday, Monday through Friday. It drops at noon. The Daily Pulse, as we like to say here at Inside Lowell. If Lowell is your home, this is your place. Till next time, everybody stay safe, enjoy the weekend, and we'll catch you on the other side.